And
welcome to the Glacially Musical Podcast. It is beer, metal, swearing with a side of vinyl. I, of course, am Nick Cameron of Glacially Musical, and I am joined by the man you can never get rid of, who always comes back, never not reelected, except that one time, Diamond Joe Chakas. How we doing today, buddy?
alrighty then. NPR intro. I do like it, except for the Diamond Joe Chakis. As long as I'm not Joe Arpaio, I'm happy to be any Joe.
You don't know who Diamond Joe is?
I do.
Okay, well, it was election day here this
Yeah.
week, and
Oh, okay.
thankfully the elections went the right way for the most part here in the Democratic primaries in Missouri for me. But is what it is. I unfortunately did not vote because I was not certain if it was legal for me to vote as I have moved, but I still own the other house. I didn't know, and I just figured whatever. Anyway, thank you everyone for joining us this week. If you are here for the Motley Crue and you are brand new, like and subscribe because that would make you awesome and killer diller. But so here's how we do this: introductions, beer check, shirt check, vinyl check, hip check, no hip check,
Good for
news
the
of the
boys.
day, let them know you're there. News of the day. Then we get to the meat of the matter. And the meat of the matter today is, of course, Motley Crue's something fifth album, Dr. Feelgood. Before we get to that, I am not beer checking this week because, as Keefe has mentioned many times, I have a keeper of a wife who does so many wonderful things for me and makes me a better person. I wake up every morning terrified that this is the last day of our marriage. Thankfully, it's not been. It's going really well. But, hey, shoes drop. But so today she texts me while she's shopping and she goes, "Do you want this?" And I said, "What?" And she sent me a picture of a 12 pack of hard Mountain Dew. And I'm like, I mean, I love Mountain Dew. Mountain Dew is like one of my jams. And she's like, "How about this? I'll buy you one and you can see what you think." And I'm like, there we go. Smart choices. So what I didn't know was the size of this thing. This thing is as big as my ass. So I'm going to drink a hard Mountain Dew, zero sugar, which makes no sense. And I am going to pour it into a glass because I am classy as fuck. And look at
Elizabeth, this is the big one. I'm coming to see you. You give me a heart attack of laughter with that pour in the beer glass.
look at the
Unbelievable.
color of this.
Alien pea green.
This shit is
How is it?
radioactive.
Radioactive. Let's not do the firm. We did that already. We did that conversation already. How is it?
I don't know.
He does not know. He may have to get a beer.
I have a beer
Alrighty.
because this is either going to be really terrible or really awful. I didn't expect it to. It's like Mitch Hedberg said, I was in a band. We were called Injured. People either loved us or they hated us or they thought we were okay. I don't know
Nice.
about this yet.
All right then. I have a beer I have never had before. Even though I have some beers in the fridge I have had before.
Holy crap.
So, so
I'm
this
sorry.
is. Oh no. It's hitting you. Oh well. He's gonna pour the rest of it. I'll hold my beer check until you're done.
I'm sorry. Just go because I'm just going to mute myself because,
Oh
oh,
Jesus.
God.
All right. Well, I am gonna drink a Booze Brothers Brewing Company Ramble On IPA, which of course I picked. It's got like a chatterbox in a suit and a hat. Does it sound like somebody you know? Let's read the back before I pour this thing. His rambling mouth moves so quickly, you wonder if those are even words he's uttering. Tiny nerves in your face twitch in irritation as you stand there in full assault of his self absorbed monologue. This could be about me.
I thought it was
Let's
me.
get real. I think it's about me. But anyway, Ramble On is also arguably the best bass line of all time by Led Zeppelin. Thank you, John Paul Jones, for everything you have given me. This is a 5 ABV West Coast IPA. Let's go do it. Here comes the can.
Holy crap.
I have to get the beer on my fucking keyboard.
Good pop.
I've been
My
looking at
keyboard's got beer on it. I don't care. I
yeah
just
for
don't
sure.
care.
I've been looking at the our Spotify plays, and there's an awesome E for explicit next to a lot of our podcasts because I just can't help myself.
Hey, it's beer, metal, and swearing.
I mean, we picked it, so and another lackluster pour. Okay.
You gotta show the pour. You can't just
I thought you could see it. I mean, it's
no.
pretty bad. So,
All right.
all
Well, you
right,
know
I'll do
what?
better. I'll do better.
You know what? I would
Focus
take
up
a
my
shitty
pores.
pour over a hard Mountain Dew.
Apparently, Christ. But yeah,
Uh,
this is. I'm hopeful this is going to be a good beer. Um, I have some other contenders in the fridge, but I'm not back to my 2 beers at a time thing. I may go out for a beer later. A friend of mine needs some consoling, so we may meet at the local metal spot for beer and listen to some heavy metal. But we'll see what mood we're in.
this tastes like sad.
It tastes like a glass of sadness. I'll tell you what this tastes like right now. Ramble on IPA. Here we go. It's all foam. Oh no. I did get some beer in there. It's quite good. It's actually pretty good.
My next beer is gonna taste really weird because this is sticky as shit.
You're gonna need to like go gargle or something with Ajax.
I have a lot of regrets in life. Keefe tells me every day, because we text all the time. He tells me things like, Nick, make better choices. Like on Tuesday when I had time off and I was listening to Lulu. And I'm always going to listen to Lulu.
You did have steak twice in one day or something, or 4 times
no,
in 2 days?
I had 3 steaks in 5 days.
I mean, that's awesome. I don't do a lot of red meat, but when I do, I try to go ham.
I
mean beef.
One of my favorite places in the world, Best Steakhouse, had that on Friday. The kiddo and I started a leaflet campaign to convince the wife that we should do that. There were no leaflets. We didn't print up enough.
Like we didn't print enough pamphlets, so no one showed up.
Yeah, we didn't do that. We talked about not doing it. Actually, we didn't even do that. We didn't even talk about doing it. So, I mean, that's really how committed we were. But it worked out. We got the Best Steakhouse, and it was awesome. Then on Sunday, on the way to camp, dropping the kid off, we stopped at the Mexican place across the street from the bail bonds place in Hillsboro, Missouri. And I got a steak ranchero. Then on Sunday, I was up early and I let the family sleep in. So I had hours to myself. And after I did all the things, including cleaning the turlet, I started realizing my steaks that I have been cooking lately have been very lackluster to be complimentary to myself. They have been so poor, they've been getting A1. So that's when you know you did. That's when I know I didn't do a good work. So I watched some videos. I watched some YouTube videos on how to cook a steak. Here are 2 things I learned that I did not know. 1, pat the steak dry. I didn't know that. Never done that. 2, salt it for at least an hour. Salt it, let it sit for an hour. I didn't know that. So I ended up cooking the steak. And even though I set off all the smoke alarms in my house, I'm still comfortable with the way it turned out, and I will do it again. Cooked it on the cast iron griddle, and it was as good as the $50 steak I got at Twisted Branch for my birthday last year.
So for cast iron, right? I'm always like a long time low flame cast iron person.
I did this. This is a cast iron grillish thing, so I could get a little bit of grill marks. Made my wife a grilled chicken breast because she does not eat steak. She eats a little red meat, but only ground beef. So I did that, and I gave it my Montreal steak seasoning, which is $15 a jar. Threw some jalapeno steak butter seasoning on there, which is also $15 a jar.
The actual Montreal steak seasoning by McCormick has high fructose corn syrup in it for no particular reason. I should not be spouting health facts on any podcast, let alone my own, but just pointing it out to you. Be careful what you put in your mouth.
I didn't use, no, this is Pepper Palace Montreal steak seasoning.
There you go.
So it's got a little bit of heat to it. And I threw it on the grill. Came out perfect. I did 2.5 minutes aside, and I got a spectacular rare, but not bloody, melt in your mouth.
Exactly how I want my steaks, rare but not bloody.
And it was a
Trader-ish.
No, this wasn't even medium.
Less than medium. Yeah.
It had about an 1.5 inch thick steak, New York strip. It bought at Trader Joe's, and it had about a 1/2 inch on top and bottom of like pink. And then in the middle, it was magenta. It was.
There you go.
I can send you pictures because I took them.
You did send me pictures.
Oh, there you go.
What is, just to back up for a second while we're on the subject, what is, as we've offended every vegan and vegetarian, what is steak ranchero? Or
I
ranchero?
don't know. It's a ribeye steak with some sauce on it
All
that
right.
comes with Mexican rice, which makes me happy.
All right, then.
I don't know. It's there. It's only $13.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you
So
like... sorry.
I had a porterhouse, a ribeye, and a New York strip in 5 days.
That's covering your bases.
Oh, I cover them. Quick shirt check.
Mm.
This week I am rocking my brand new shirt, my Tetris shirt. Like to put squares in the holes.
There was a very cool TikTok video of a guy doing like Tetris in a giant freight yard.
Oh, for a second I thought you said you were going to say he was sticking up blocks up his arse, and we didn't need to talk about that. I mean, now I'm going to Google that.
Mine goes to dark places, Nicholas. Make better choices.
I'm going to have to Google that phrase and regret choices.
I am wearing my Black Dahlia Murder tribute shirt to Trevor, and you can still buy this shirt from Night Shift merch out of Florida, and I think it's Probity in Europe that does it. I'm sorry. We'll link it in the description. Some of the money goes to charity, and some of the money goes to Trevor's family to cover the cost of the memorial they just had for him the other day.
Very cool. Very cool. So, news of the day. I did see.
Skip the vinyl.
I don't have a vinyl check this week.
I do.
So I'm just gonna bust out that.
Oh, he's got the crew ready.
I did listen to Dr. Feelgood on. I got it at $19.99 at CD Warehouse in South County in St. Louis.
Nice. In the Mylar already?
No, it was not.
Oh no, I'm saying you cleaned it.
Oh yeah, I've had this for about a year now. I was very surprised to come across this because it, as I've mentioned before in our collecting episodes, the most expensive records are the late 80s, early 90s ones during the dark times. But this is a 180 gram repress. But I got it for $20 and I am happy with that. And this is actually one of the albums also that has surprisingly increased in value in ways that I did not expect. But that's never leaving this house.
Okay. Well, if there's a crew record worth buying a 180 gram repress of, it's that one. And we'll get into that later. I don't want to have a spoiler alert for the whole episode. I have a vinyl check. So that was your vinyl check. Here's my vinyl check. This is a bad boy I have been waiting for a long time. Super excited. One of my favorite bands of the last 20 years is reuniting for the Blue Ridge Rock Festival. And I have the awesome repress of God Forbid's Gone Forever.
Nice.
They have other albums that are awesome. I love this record. I actually saw God Forbid as a bar band before they were signed to Century Media in the late 90s. So really cool. I'm friendly with Corey Pierce. I'm friendly with Doc Coyle. He used to serve me beer at Duff's Alcohol Abuse Center. Again, beautiful on vinyl, the back cover, and the somewhat maligned bird poop pattern and kind of bird poop color, to be honest. I don't know if you can tell with the lights here in the room, but this is like literally yellowy green. Kind of looks like... Yeah,
I'm questioning a lot of your choices. I'm questioning their aesthetic choice. I'm questioning their aesthetic choices.
It's put out on M Theory Audio. I think these are sold out now, so this will probably be rare. I'm hoping for their other albums to get repressed and put out on vinyl the next few years. Hoping that one-off show is not more than one. And, yeah. Very excited.
Cool. I will tell you now, until I finish this Mountain Dew, I will be grumbling after every sip because this is terrible.
You go ahead and give some news, and then you can go grumble, and I'll do some news.
I don't have a whole lot of news. I just want to say I did see on the very excellent website that I don't know if anybody's heard of, Ghost Cult Mag's Twitter feed, that yesterday was James Hetfield's birthday, which makes him, I believe, 61 or 59. I can never remember if it was 62 or 63 when he was born.
I think he's 59.
I remember that Bob Rock gave him, during the load sessions, gave him an SG. He was 63 because it was a 63 SG, which is from the same year he was born. So I thought that was cool. And we'll talk about Bob Rock a lot more later. But other than that, that's probably all I got for news this week. I haven't been busy. I haven't paid as much attention as I would like. I was in jury duty.
That's correct. You were serving your people. That's good. but you got out because your wife's a lawyer and you're like very familiar with the law. The
And she knew
two,
the judge. And
the,
she knew the
she knows
judge.
the judge. Super conflict of interest. Three ways you can get out of jury duty. You or someone you're related to is a lawyer and knows people in the local justice system. You are a horrible person that does not like authority. You have an unfavorable opinion of the crime in the area in the place in question.
Or if you like me, you're like me, and you live in a place with an unethical prosecuting attorney who puts on false evidence, and you know that, and you're not ashamed to admit that in public.
Okay.
Did not get to that point, but I probably would have.
In your back pocket for the next time.
This wasn't even criminal.
I do feel like it's weird that beside voting, jury duty is one of the few civic duties you actually can do that do serve your community, but they make it so just not. I don't want to say accommodating because I'm going to sound like a Karen, but it's so inconvenient when they want you to serve and you don't get paid and your job's not going to pay you. So like, why would I?
I got paid $12.
It's almost not getting paid, dude. It's like car fare.
I know. I mean, but it was a 2-week trial. So that's how I got. Actually, I didn't even get to the courtroom. I'm like, no, I can't. I work. I'm not retired. Sorry. Happy to serve. Happy to do my duty. And if you want me, I'll do it. But
yeah, they should want to have a diverse pool of jurors who feel that it's worth their while to serve, and that's a real thing.
I'm gonna stop talking about everything here because I don't want to say things I'm not allowed to say.
I got you. You're probably there's probably a list of no-go zones from the wife. Similar to Dr. Manhattan, please don't talk about Afghanistan or the Middle East or Vietnam. So, is there any news? Did we talk about the latest from the Motley Crue tour last week? I don't remember.
No, that came out. Okay. So
I gotta say, I did not have on my bingo card Tommy Lee being the weak link of Motley Crue on the stadium tour. Did you? Did anyone? He's usually the strongest part of the band. He is a freaking chuckle fuck. I don't understand this guy and his BS. You go ahead.
So turns out Tommy Lee is drum syncing. Now, some people will say that it's just a click track that we heard. However, there was a crash cymbal that was also heard while Tommy Lee was not playing, which means it's not a click track unless it is the Cadillac DeVille, the Cadillac Sedan DeVille of click tracks. But usually that's in your ear, not out. So the crash in your ear would not be helpful. So they've got rhythm guitar pumped in on stage. They've got Vince, all the backup vocals pumped in on stage. They've got half of Vince Neil's vocals pumped in on stage. And they've got now Tommy Lee's drums pumped in on stage.
And again, I'm not going to say that their Def Leppard surely has backing vocals pumped in. They surely have additional sequencing keyboards.
Oh, do they?
Guitars.
Does Def Leppard do that?
They have
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Okay. I mean, they're still great live, and they do play a lot themselves. And Joe still can sing most of the time till he blows his voice out. It's been pretty good on this tour, apparently. But this is unforgivable. Like, this is borderline heinous, yo. Like,
so the question becomes, what the fuck is it? What is it?
Why bother? Why come back at all if you can't do it? Like, I'm just I mean, so fun fact, as of now, this week as we record this, we would have been covering Motley Crue on the East Coast, but Ghost Cult we were turned down because they want to put in television and newspapers that don't care about rock and roll or write a review of things, good, bad, or indifferent. So we were denied. I'm not salty about it. It is part of the process. More and more as we've come back from the abyss of no shows during the height of the pandemic, we'll call it, they are making websites and press go strictly through Live Nation. So if I was going through my contacts, who I know at Motley Crue's label, Def Leppard's longtime publicist, even Poison, if I was going through any of them, I think they would put us in. But because you have to go through like an anonymous person at Live Nation that may not know us, and we're not television, radio, or Loudwire, Revolver, they turned us down. So I'm bummed that we're not going to have the coverage. But then again, I'm all Motley Crue'd out. And after tonight, I'm going to take a long hiatus from this band.
I know what it's like to be turned down for coverage. I have been turned down for coverage from PR firms, whom I will not name,
Mm.
who emailed me, would you like to cover this show? And I'm like, yeah, I would love to. I would love to interview the artist, whatever you can get me. And only to get emails back that say, who are you?
Mm.
I'm like, okay, that only hurt a lot. You know what? I'll buy a ticket.
Yeah, I think again sometimes I love my publicists. I love you all for the most part. Most of you are great. I do think that they're the bearers of bad news, but they're not the actual gatekeepers. A lot of times it's the management, and they're very excited to say, "Look, we offered the show to 29 people. Pick your 10." And then they have to give you bad news. We had a
And I
similar.
get that. That wasn't the issue. The issue was, who are you?
Is it the same publicist that says so? They
Yeah,
sent you. So they sent you. They spammed you with a message that seemed personal. You replied enthusiastically, and then they personally wrote back, "Who are you?" Because they don't actually know who you are. That
correct.
sucks, especially if it's in like the metal realm, because it's a
Oh
small.
yeah,
It's a real.
it's
It's
a
a
big
real
metal
small
place.
world. It's a real small world. So I'm sorry to hear that.
But I did get an email from they brought on someone else who knew me later, and he emailed me specifically, not a spam email, but
Mm.
one to me, and I'm like, hey, this happened last time I tried, so no. But they
Uh,
did email me again, theoretically, personally. I may try this one, and if I do, it's something I think that we could do. It's one of the ones we could do together.
Okay, we'll talk about it offline. I will
Yeah.
say
Oh yeah.
I want to leave on a positive note, and I do think most of the feel good conversation will be positive. But I did see a concert this week, my first back since COVID. I was a little full of anxiety. Monkeypox is exploding everywhere, no more so than in California, but the country just announced a national emergency about the monkeypox. And again, it's really only transmissible if someone with a sore on their body touches you, or gets fluid in you via sex or something. So like, yeah, like I'm not gonna get it, but also at a concert with people ripping their shirt off and moshing and sweaty and drunk, you get people rubbing against you. So I saw Anthrax, Black Label Society, and Hatebreed at in Sacramento at the Cal Expo, where this California State Fair is happening at the same time. So about 500 yards away from where Anthrax played, Smash Mouth was playing somewhere else in the proximity, and I wish I could have gone to see them. Apparently, I watched some video just to see in case he was continues to be Steve, the frontman of Smash Mouth, continues to be a mess on stage and horrible, but he actually was at least competent in performing. I still don't think he's a good person, but that is a hell of a lineup. I want to urge people to go. This is Anthrax's first headline tour in a dog's age. They have
Yeah, they've
not
been
been.
touring with Slayer like
They've been
for
opening for other bands, co-headlining in Europe. They did a headline tour of Europe at the like during the pre-pandemic time. They were supposed to come home and write a record. They've started to write that record, but they basically have not done a proper headline tour of North America in 6 or 7 full years, where they toured the whole country. To have Black Label and Hatebreed out with them is a little something for every kind of metal fan there. Each band plays a very lengthy set. So Hatebreed played like 15 songs in about an hour. Black Label Society played about 14 songs in an hour. Anthrax plays about 13 songs in an hour, 5 hour, 10. So it's a very enjoyable, very good show. And yeah, even Anthrax, my typical one of my favorite bands. You see there the patch on the back of my battle vest. I'm from the Bronx, New York, where two guys are from. My one problem with Anthrax, and historically, is at least the last however many years since Joey came back, they don't really switch the setup much. They did this time. They did. Um, what did they do? They did "Keep It in the Family," which I have not heard
ooh,
live in forever.
whoa.
They also did "Fight 'Em Till You Can't," which isn't unheard of, but it's nice to hear from worship music. This is the 40th anniversary tour. They did "Only" with Joey on vocals. He's still all over the place vocally compared to John, but super cool that they did it, and the fans went bananas for it. And they also didn't do "Got the Time," which, even though I love "Got the Time," after hearing it at every Anthrax show I've ever been to, it was great to not actually hear it. And it was great to not hear certain things. But they did like all the they opened up with like 5 or 6 just blazing thrash tracks to open, all from the 80s. It was fantastic. Like no complaints.
Yeah. It's like when I saw Metallica the second time. and they didn't play For Whom the Bell Tolls, but they did play Enter Sandman.
You're always going to get Enter Sandman, but I have seen them once where they didn't do it, and I was really thrilled. Um, Maybe once or twice actually of all the times I've seen them, they did not play it, and I was surprised. And I'm like that with Seek and Destroy. Love Seek and Destroy, always one of my favorite songs. Surely my favorite song off of the first album, Kill 'Em All, and I could not choose to, especially if they do the like 20-minute version. I don't want to hear it anymore.
Yeah, but wouldn't it be better if they played something along the lines of Where the Wild Things Are?
You're jesting, right?
Oh, God, completely.
Okay. I will also say that Anthrax closed with Indians, which was a very good choice. They don't often close. They've closed with other songs, not that one, in a long time. Long time. So great set by Anthrax, great set by Zach. I don't have to go through the tracks. You know what he played. And Hatebreed was very solid. You know what they do. So
very cool. Before we get into the meat of the potatoes, let's discuss briefly what has come out from Phil Anselmo's face hole about the Pantera tour. He has said, he is on record saying that he knows Dime and Vinny would be all about the legacy of Pantera living on. Thoughts?
I don't think he's wrong. First of all, let's just be fair to Philip and say that he definitely put it in a context, right? That yes. He's like, I think we would have reunited eventually and put our differences behind us. Dime and Vinny were about being a legacy band. They were always cozying up to our heroes. Not that he wasn't either, of course he was. But he was saying like they were very concerned, especially as they got to be a more older veteran band, that they were one of the best bands ever and they'd be seen that way. And this is, in Phil's opinion, this is a way of protecting that legacy. Philip has come out and said that they're going to do, they're very excited and going to do a good thing. Rex has gone on record and said that, like, this is a big deal and we're going to take really great care to play the best we can. And he said all the right things. Rex is an ornery SOB sometimes and just kind of shoots from the hip.
Oh, I know.
You know well. But I think they're all saying the right things. And both Zach and Charlie, since I saw them both, and by the way, obviously, like Anthrax did In the End, which is a tribute to Dio and Dimebag, and now Vinny, and of course Zach Wild brought out a baby grand piano on a tour and did In This River for like 15 minutes. And so, they're saying all the right things. We're going to do this right. We're going to take great care to honor their music. We're going to play what the fans want to hear. And you just wait and see. We're going to do it right. So, like, I don't think Phil's insincere. He's been insincere about a lot of things. People are going to remember this. If people who never saw Pantera go out and it's whack, they're going to remember they saw it finally and it was whack. Whatever finally, or whatever passes for Pantera. Again, I wouldn't quite call it the Pantera reunion. I would say a tribute to Pantera, a night of Pantera music, a tribute to Diamond Vinny. Anything like that, I think is fine. I wouldn't quite say we're Pantera. The bill shouldn't just say Pantera blank and blank.
Yeah, we've been pretty much on the record with that. And I mean, honestly, I waffle back and forth every time. Oh, now you're doing my trick.
Sorry.
It's all right. I did it to you twice. I have not decided where I'm falling on this just yet, so I got to give that some time.
I'm going to say I'm probably going to go. I'm going to be really honest. I've seen Pantera more than most people have. I saw them a bunch. I used to go to multiple shows a tour. At one point during the 101 Proof Tour, they played 5 shows in the local tri-state area of New York, and I went 4 times in a row to see the same set list, to see the same opening bands. I didn't care. I was all about this band. And bands I had sounded like a cross between Pantera and Metallica with a little other stuff thrown in. And I'm most likely going to go at a morbid curiosity. I saw the brothers, and I think it's going to be okay, and I think they are going to do it right, and I think it is going to be handled with care, and I don't think it's going to be disrespectful. And if people feel it's disrespectful, that's cool too. I understand.
Well, you've got 2 good people working with them, very respected people, probably just the exact perfect people to round out the lineup. If I had an opportunity to go today, I'm probably going. So we'll see how that goes. But in the meantime, let's move on to the Feelgood. Should mention, I listened to this album last week, listened to it again today, and then in order to get a little bit more into the spirit, as it were, as my wife and I were eating dinner, we were watching Dr. Feelgood videos. So I saw the video for Dr. Feelgood today. I saw the video for Kickstart My Heart today. And I saw the video for Same Old Situation today. And she is there singing along. And I'm like, this is research. Take this seriously.
Is there a video for Without You?
Yes, there is. It is Egyptian themed because that makes sense.
It's their Power Slave or their Seasons in the Abyss, I guess.
Danny, friend of the show, is posting pictures on Facebook of himself in Egypt right now because that's where he is. And he went to the statue where they stole Power Slave from. No. Wearing an Iron Maiden Power Slave t-shirt.
Amazing. Power Slave is my favorite Iron Maiden album.
Because that is Danny.
Danny rules. Of Torchlight Parade and a bunch of other bands.
Torchlight Parade, 3/4 Francis, Beckmork, Capuchin Punks. There's more.
Okay.
Dude is on fire.
Word. Put him out.
Okay, so let's get to the business for real this time.
Feel good. Yeah, I listened to this thing 4 times in the last 3 days. You had 5 steaks in 3 days. You had a better choice. You had a better life than I did.
3 and 5.
I listened to this record 4 times in the last 2 days.
It's a bit much.
And honestly, it's the only one that actually holds up of the whole run. I do still love Shout at the Devil, and the beginning of Girls, Girls, Girls is a good start to the album, but that rest of the album is...
I'm sorry. That went,
Stop drinking it. Pour it out.
No, I'm not. I'm
determined to drink it all. I'm sorry, everybody listening at home that's not getting this visual. We have been posting these. Hopefully, I haven't really checked. I don't know. When you do the videos, we'll talk off air about how to get these to show up as videos on Spotify via Anchor. And maybe...
I only post the first... No, I started that, but today's was the first one. The one that published today was the first one I had done.
Okay, very well. So...
Sorry.
This album holds up.
It holds up very much in a lot of cool ways. Whom do you think we have to thank for this?
I think it's Bob Rock.
And I would agree.
And I think maybe Doc McGee, actually.
So, Bob Rock, everyone listening to this podcast knows that name. For obvious reasons.
He was almost the bassist in Metallica. At least he wanted to be.
He was the bassist in Metallica.
I think it should just be me. No, he wanted to be the permanent bassist in Metallica.
I know,
and that was just make it be me.
That'd be a terrible plan.
I mean, he's a good guitar player. That's people know him. He's actually quite a good guitar player. But
yeah, and a good guitar player does not mean good bass player. Ace Frehley, looking at you, hire a bass player. Cheap bastard. So Bob
Simmons taught him to do that.
Ooh, it's hard to believe, but there was a time when Bob Rock was not a household name.
He was not.
And the time when Bob Rock was not a household name was around the time that Motley Crue went into the studio with Bob Rock. At this time, the only significant work he had done ahead of this was The Cure. Not The Cure, I'm sorry, The Cult. Sorry, wow, messed that one up. The Cult. He is only just off of being in The Payolas, which I have recently listened to. Gonna say, don't recommend. Do not. That is not one that no. But probably gonna make Duncan listen to that. But that's besides the point. So he is 2 years out of being a working musician for a Canadian band called the Payolas, which they kept changing around to make them fly. It did not. For more information about that, see A Year and a Half in the Life of Metallica, tape number 1. So he comes in, and this is where Bob Rock makes his name. Now, Motley Crue was not an unsuccessful band, as we all know. All of their albums have gone multiple times platinum. If you think about their first 4 albums, they sold, about 15 million copies of 4 albums? That's pretty damn good. So they're doing really well. So why would you bring in someone new? Well, so you could sell 10 million copies.
Yeah, I think what happens is they, despite the success, they didn't like Tom Werman being their babysitter and A&R and producer. They honestly had not made a very good sounding record. We discussed this. They're good, but they're good in the same way they're not great. And that maybe some of that is the performances, and some of that is the guys in the band and their lack of focus because of focusing on other things. And they were going to make a change to someone. Now, I will say, it's not possible he did not have a real success. I mean, like the albums he was known for before he recorded Motley Crue was probably the debut Kingdom Come album. Everybody knows that Kingdom Come is like the 80s hair band that shamelessly rips off Led Zeppelin much more than even Great White or any other hair band.
I think you meant White Snake.
No, Kingdom Come.
No, that rips off
Oh,
Led Zeppelin more
whatever.
than.
I refuse that. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna, because he shook his shoulders one time and he had frosted blonde hair like Robert. He's a Robert ripoff. Listen, David Coverdale is Robert's peer. He was incredible in Deep Purple. I won't have it. I will not have it.
I will just say this, and I will let it go. There is a Coverdale Page song that was a single that KC95 played for years and years and years, and I never realized it wasn't Led Zeppelin.
That is on you. Do your homework. Anyway, before he recorded Motley Crue, he was the producer on Sonic Temple and Blue Murder, which has John Sykes from Thin Lizzy. So these are, granted they were all kind of recorded back to back to back in '88. So he was busy working on these big deal records. To me, big deal records, right? Cult is becoming a huge band at this point after Love and Sonic Temple.
At this time, the Cult is opening for Metallica on the Damaged Justice tour.
Right. So I mean, like growing
Yeah.
big.
Oh yeah.
Blue Murder at least had a good rep, and again, so he gets Crue, and you can't deny or refute the fact that he made them sound amazing.
I'm sorry, I'm nodding, and I realize that perhaps you're listening. So yes, he took Motley Crue and made them sound great. When Keefe talks about how the first few albums were good, sounded good, didn't sound great. I have albums pressed to vinyl even by buddies of mine that recorded them in their basement that have better engineering and sound quality than Theater of Pain, released on Elektra Records in 1986. So what does Bob Rock do? He's a guitar player. He focuses on the guitar, and he did some amazing work with Mick Mars. And Mick Mars did a lot of new things on this album, a lot of talk box, a lot of metal shredding, which he didn't really do very much of leading into this. Bob Rock he went backwards with Mick Mars that he did to Kirk Hammett. He made Kirk Hammett bluesier. He made Mick Mars less bluesy, which I don't know. Whatever your style is, I guess change up the lead guitar player, make him do whatever you want, and then sell millions and millions and millions of records. Veruca Salt, how'd you do? But
Veruca Salt produced by Bob Rock, by the way.
Correct. That's why I pointed that out.
I was gonna say, I'm gonna just throw it in here because I brought it up once before and you kind of shrugged me off. There's a lot of credence that says Nikki Sixx is also really the guitar player of Motley Crue, at least in the studio, has gone in and Jimi Hendrixed Mick off the albums because they were close to firing him on the last record, and Nicky didn't like what he was getting. It's similar to Charlie Benante and Anthrax, would go in and record your solos over and you didn't even notice, Danny, so like just Dan Spitz. So like Nicky has been said and floated and intimated that he's played a lot of guitar on this album and other Motley Crue albums. Just saying.
It would not shock me. I would not shock me, and knowing the kind of people that Nikki Sixx is, the thing about it is before this album, he's never really been, let's call it, functionally engaged to make me believe that happened. Now on this record, because we didn't mention, Motley Crue is sober for this album. They are off the drugs, no more hair run. Nikki Sixx nearly died, and they stopped drinking. Even I don't think that held, but they're doing a completely new Motley Crue completely sober, and which I believe was the impetus for the song Dr. Feelgood. And so it's a very different band and a much more, I'm presuming, engaged band in what's going on. I'm not going to say that they need to be 100% sober all the time, but I would say after as deep as they went into that, it was probably a good idea to take a break.
Accurate. Is this also around the time of the Moscow Peace concert?
Oh, we should have talked about that last week.
Right over it, but it's
let's
okay.
hit it this week. No, let's hit it.
All right, you want to hit it now because we haven't gotten to the
Oh
record
yeah,
yet.
hit it now.
All right, so as part of a plea deal to keep Doc McGee from going to jail for drug trafficking to all his bands and doing, snorting up half of Bolivia by himself.
Oh God.
You poor guy. They make a deal to leave the country, which nobody should be able to leave the country, especially Doc McGee if you're under indictment for drug trafficking, to go do the wall was coming down, Glasnost was happening, Mr. Gorbachev tear down that wall, Reagan, everything. They go to Europe, they go to Russia to do that.
At least they didn't do this in Peru.
No, that would have been ridiculous. But so it's like Ozzy at the height of Ozzy crazy drugs.
Yeah, this is
Bon Jovi.
For Ozzy, this is the No Rest for the Wicked.
Zakk Wylde's first tour ever. Sebastian Bach and Skid Row, first album.
And if you read Sebastian's book, he will tell you all about the cocaine that he snorted.
Yeah.
He'll tell you not to do it, and then he'll say he loved it. So apparently he snorted the cocaine with the Lars Ulrich all the time.
All the time. But yeah, so Bon Jovi, who were pretty sober and square. Motley Crue, who were trying to be sober.
Were they at this time?
Right before. But they had supposedly said they were going to be sober. They were trying to be sober for Vince. And Nicky had definitely kicked the H as much as he could. And that's, again, I think that lends to why the record also came out well. But there's that's more on that in a minute. Who else is on that? There's other bands. Scorpions are on there.
Mm-hmm. Everybody.
It's an incredible lineup that got on a plane, on one private plane together to fly to Moscow. That's just, how long's that flight going to be? 20 hours?
12 hours at least.
Yeah, well, I mean, I flew from Denmark to New York and it was 10. So Russia's going to be another couple more.
Yeah. So, probably about 16 hours. You're probably right.
And so, it was... And Adam Curry of MTV, the host of Headbangers Ball at this time, by the way. Whoa. Just insane. So, just the madness that ensues. I'll let you take over from here.
All righty. First of all, let's just say this was not a sobriety check for anyone. This was just a complete and utter mess. And but I have to say, the balls on these people. They're like, hey, you know where we should go do this? Exactly where the Iron Curtain just fell. We'll go to Moscow. It'll be awesome. I'm sure everything is totally safe. There's no power vacuum. And we'll just get really stoned on the plane. And everyone came back. That's the part that I really don't understand. I would have thought the mob would have taken over at that point.
Fair enough. I also want to point out, sort of in a circular fashion, that Bob Rock was also, I don't want to insult him, he was the engineer on the first two Bon Jovi records and my beloved Aerosmith Permanent Vacation comeback album. So,
oh God,
I mean,
he was on Permanent. I didn't know
he's the engineer and mixer of those albums. So he did have he was kind of a growing name as a producer, because if you worked on those, are all platinum selling records, right? The two Bon Jovi, Slippery, and I'm sorry, the second and third Bon Jovi records, so Slippery When Wet and New Jersey, and Permanent Vacation. So, and I guess he came in and he actually was the engineer on Kirk Hammett's solo record, even though he didn't produce it. It's kind of funny. Oh, he did produce it. He's done a lot of great stuff after this Motley Crue record, including the Black Album, but he did a lot of things.
And Veruca Salt.
Veruca Salt, A Little Ain't Enough by David Lee Roth. Loverboy.
Wait a minute, he did that?
He's the producer of that album. Little
I have
Caesar
that. I got an English copy of that.
Cher's covers album Love Hurts, Bon Jovi Keep the Faith, The Cult self-titled, Motley Crue self-titled, Choir Boys, their best record, Load,
I might throw
Rio,
up.
oh my,
I might throw up this Mountain Dew.
Nina Gordon, Metallica, I Disappear, and then actually the last 20 years, Bob has never had a day off. It seems he's got like a pretty charting record every year. The Cult, Beyond Good and Evil, Econoline Crush, Our Lady Peace, Tonic, Simple Plan, American Hi-Fi, Nina Gordon Solo from Veruca Salt, Joan Jett, Tragically Hip, Michael Bublé, Gavin Rossdale, Offspring, DOA, Tragically Hip 311, Nelly Furtado, Black Veil Brides. He's working. This guy's working. So,
He is the Bob Ezrin of our generation.
ugh, slow down. Oh,
Whoa.
it's not unfair.
I mean, think about that. Bob Ezrin did The Wall, Destroyer, so many Alice Cooper records. He produced so many of the seminal records of the 70s. And Bob Rock comes in and produces so many of the seminal records of the late 80s and 90s. And
That's not unfair.
I mean, that man probably has sold 400 million records. That might be a bit much, but between Crue and Metallica, he sold 100.
For sure, yeah.
And if you think about that, that is absolutely insane.
And then he's the engineer on those Bon Jovi records that are like each 10 million sellers, which is
right.
insane.
And Permanent Vacation, which is probably my favorite Aerosmith record.
Oh, nice.
I have a DJ promo copy of that one.
That's crazy. Here's the secret to the album right here. So Crue's trying to be sober to make this record, and we've discussed at length ad infinitum about Nicky and Vince's relationship, and whether Nicky's too
Jesus
high.
Fuck. I'm sorry. It's like medicine now.
Oh yeah, it's like castor oil.
Oh, it is. I'm like drinking the castor oil and Stand By Me. Get me to a pie eating contest.
Yikes. So, apparently, for the first time in their entire career, Bob Rock made them record their parts separately with no one else allowed in the studio, one at a time.
Interesting.
That's how he did it. So that's how the record got made. That's probably why it sounds so good. No one is allowed to interfere with anyone else until the parts are all recorded. And by then, it's done. You know what I'm saying? It's all done already. So Bob is a magical guy, man. He gets the best out of people. I don't love everything he's ever done, but certainly he, made my band one of my favorite bands, the biggest band ever. He certainly, and again, if you hate the Black Album, you hate this record, because this is the template for the Black Album, this sound of this record. Lars Ulrich said, I want a drum sound like Dr. Feelgood. How do I do that? Someone said, probably Q Prime, hire Bob Rock.
And I believe Bob Rock was paid for the Black Album about $100,000 and points on the record.
And he worked on that shit for a year. I mean, $100,000 30 years ago is like $1 million today, right? Like inflation and stuff, like 800, 900,000, which is unheard of.
And points on the record.
There's the biggest selling record almost of all time, just about. So, at least in rock and metal. And surely,
I'm sure it is the highest selling metal album of all time.
Yeah.
And I mean, how many albums have sold 30 million copies?
Right, actually, and it still sells 6,000 copies a week, physical. So apparently, also Metallica.
Well, how many times have you bought it?
We left this out.
Same.
But I would say Polestar did their like 40th anniversary roll up, and Metallica has sold the most tickets ever of any metal band. And I think they're only 8 bands behind number 1, which is U2. But like, let's say U2, Metallica, let's say when it'll really start becoming a global phenomenon, it was like the year or 2 after the Black Album, right? And say that like U2 was already a huge band for 8 years by this time, 8 or 9 years at least. So
I finished the Mountain Dew.
that's just fucking horrible. Don't do it again.
I will not. I had to know.
Treat yourself better.
I'm going to treat myself better right now.
You're not going to chase it with something, wash it down, lick a cat's butthole, something? What you got there?
Pithead Brewing, Aldi brand, Session IPA.
Okay. How's that clash?
Oh, good fucking God.
I told you. You gotta Cleanse the palate.
I'm trying to cleanse the palate. And, oh, God, I want to kill it with fire. I don't want to taste anything ever again.
Oh, no. Stick a knitting needle in each taste bud.
Oh, Jesus. The world has taken away my favorite thing, and that's tasting delicious things.
Well,
I'm sorry. Motley Crue. Motley Crue.
And we're listening to Motley Crue. Is punishment enough, my friend? But here we go.
No, not this week. Oh, God. Okay. So Bob Rock comes in, and this is where Bob Rock makes his bones. He was a up-and-comer, and he takes a extremely successful band and explodes them. And another, template from this album to the Black Album, they each had 6 singles. So big singles, big tours, big videos. Both of these bands, not that Motley Crue wasn't a video band to begin with, but this is when Elektra Records starts putting money into their videos.
Here's a question for you. Based on our conversation last episode on the Glacially Musical Podcast, Batman and Robin fight the Riddler.
Fuck that guy.
Do you think the musical tone of Feelgood is just a follow-up to Girls, 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 just done better?
Yes. When I was listening to Dr. Feelgood today, the track, I was immediately reminded of the track Girls, Girls, Girls.
See, to me, Kickstart My Heart reminds me of Girls, Girls, Girls. Got that same kind of like buzz saw.
Maybe I got the wrong track, but there was a song.
Like Dr. Feelgood is a singular song. I mean, we're not going to do the track by track in it. We will in a second. But like I was going to say that like they did all the things they did good on those first 2 songs on that Girls, Girls, Girls record, and they did them to the volume 10 effort on this record.
I would completely agree with that.
There was nothing terrible on that last record, but there was also nothing amazing except those first couple.
I will say about Girls, Girls, Girls what I say about Kiss's Hot in the Shade. It could have been a single, and I wouldn't
Would have been enough.
Would have been enough.
So yeah, there's a lot of fun things on this. Do we want to just run down the track by track and just put this whole series out of its misery?
Well, yeah, let's do that. Let's take a short break before we get into that, if you don't mind.
I will pause.
All right, we are back from the break. Thank you for holding with us. You are awesome. Princes of Maine, princesses of Saskatchewan, and lords of Chihuahua, Mexico. Anywho, before we get to the track by track, I just want to let you know I spent the break getting some of the Mountain Dew out of me, regretting many choices, and telling my wife that is the most revolting beverage I've ever drank in my life. She said, "Oh, sorry." But, I appreciate her thinking of me. And all right. So let us talk about the track by track of Dr. Feelgood. As you can see, if you're watching this, I'm reading from the back of the record. It starts off with TNT, a.k.a. Terror in Tinseltown. Dropped the needle this afternoon while I was making my chicken teriyaki and California veggie medley stir fry and went, I thought this album started off with Dr. Feelgood. It does not. It starts off with a 45-second intro track, which is the bane of my existence, called Terror in Tinseltown, which is stupid.
Not only is it stupid, they stole the sample from Operation Mindcrime, which came out a year earlier. Motley Crue does seem like a very insecure band that is always looking to see what everyone else is doing. So Aerosmith is back at this time. Def Leppard has Hysteria. That actual anniversary was this week, 35th anniversary of Hysteria.
Bought that for my wife for Christmas a few years ago, the 180-gram repress.
Mindcrime comes out.
Not a fan.
All these bands are breaking big, and Crue, granted, they sell huge, but they didn't have that record, right? That record that infiltrated.
Correct.
Even though it's hard to say that a record sold 4 million, or they had sold like 15 million records in 7 or 8 years, and they hadn't broken through the public consciousness. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying like, or GNR's like Appetite doesn't become big until this year, 89, even though it was out in 87.
It took Appetite 2 years
to get huge.
But when it blew up, it glowed.
So, like, again, Crew sees themselves as like, we were before all these guys. Why are we not?
Yeah, I'm actually currently reading Nothing But a Good Time,
You said.
the story of the Sunset Strip, and I haven't gotten to this part of the story with Motley Crue yet, but yeah, going back to London, holy hell, everybody was in that band, including Izzy Stradlin and
Yeah.
Duff and Slash. But
Go back and listen to our first episode where we did the genealogy of London and everybody else. Fred
but
Coury,
yeah, so Motley Crue was like the first one in this new wave, and then all of a sudden bands from that wave are blowing past them. So yeah, I would
surely
imagine
blew past them. Yeah, I would say Appetite is better than any Crew album until this one,
that's not
including
fair.
this one. Is it not
That's
fair?
Look, I love Dr. Feelgood.
Yeah, I
Spoiler
love this
alert.
record. I mean, I'll tell you now, I love this record.
But if I'm being, I love Guns N' Roses' Appetite for Destruction way more. My entire family loves it except for the kid. To the point where my wife asked me once, "You didn't play that for her?" I'm like, "Do you not remember Mr. Brownstone, My Michelle? It's so easy." She's like, "Oh yeah. Can you skip those?" No, it's a record.
Yet.
But
someday.
Guns N' Roses is an album on par in the American consciousness, like the Black Album, like Dark Side of the Moon. It's not fair.
Black.
Right. It's not fair to compare anything Motley Crue did, who were a wildly successful band,
and they were wildly successful,
to that album. That's just not a very that is rarefied air. It's in the same air as Thriller.
I just feel like Motley Crue is a band always checking around them to see what everyone else is doing instead of just setting a bar and living there. And that's, maybe that's some insecurity with Nicky because it's his band ultimately. I don't know, but they surely came through on this one.
Correct.
So Terror and Tinseltown, peace out, not necessary. Don't rip off Queensryche, please. And then that's the start of the record. I could live without it too.
Then we move on to Dr. Feelgood, the title track, and this is, I believe it was the first single off the record, because this was the announcement, the Nuke Lelouch fastball announcing our presence with authority moment, where we're sober, we're calling out the drug dealers that we used to deal with, blah, blah, blah. The video is a movie about it's basically a Southern California Scarface in the course of 4 minutes, and then for some reason in the middle, Mick starts "Come play with Glock," and I don't know what he's saying there. Come play with something. Still don't know. Heard that twice today. I have never looked at the lyrics to figure it out, but amazing song. This, and we have given Vince Neil specifically often deserved criticisms during the course of this series.
There are more to come. Trust me, there's more coming.
Okay, no, there's not
on this song.
Not on this side of the microphone. But he kicks fucking ass. Mick kicks ass. Tommy, theoretically Mick, possibly Nicky. But there is nothing, there is not a single thing about this song that I can say they didn't do well. It is perfection. This is, I've always been of the belief that every band gets one perfect song in their life.
This is it for these
Correct.
guys. This is their Mona Lisa. This is their Fear Release. This is it.
Correct. Speaking of the Fear Release, I actually had that played as the Groom's March at my wedding on classical guitar.
Interesting.
By a man named Zoki.
All right then. Still married. Impressive. So.
That's a great tune. Shut up.
Feel good. Here's the one wah because I gotta put a frown on everything. Do you know what Hanging with the Homeboys is?
I'm gonna go with no.
Okay, Hanging with the Homeboys is a 1991 comedy film, which was one of the debut things of Orlando Jones, John Leguizamo, and a bunch of other actors that are forgettable, and they paid Motley Crue to re-record Dr. Feelgood to the vocal release of Hangin' with the Homeboys and re-record the song for the soundtrack to that movies. It is laughably bad. It is a terrible move. It is a move Metallica wouldn't even do, and they are shameless and horrible at this kind of marketing, and Kiss wouldn't even do it. I think, or maybe with the Kiss Dr. Pepper thing. But even then, I still think like they didn't
No,
change
if
the
you
song.
if you give Kiss $15, you're gonna get $15 worth of something.
When this podcast is over, go YouTube Hangin' with the Homeboys theme song and listen with cringe and hear it, because they should not have allowed this a couple years after this came out. But anyway.
Okay, in fairness, there's a lot of things Motley Crue should not have allowed.
Yeah. They might have needed the money. Not for drugs, but they might have needed the money. Anyway.
No, they were back. They were back on the drugs by the end of the tour.
It's a 10 by 10. It's a 10 of 10 song.
Completely.
For sure.
Completely.
Yeah.
Next, we move on to Slice of Your Pie. And all I remember is kind of a bad chorus. So,
decent song. And the end of the song interpolates She's So Heavy by the Beatles, because it kind of sounds like that. But I think this is something they ripped off from Enough's Enough, who was always, sort of tipping a hat to the Beatles in their music, because Chips Enough is an obsessive Paul McCartney and Beatles fan, and not original, but like it works. Here's where I'm gonna say again, Vince, and it gets worse. I know that he thinks he's a great singer, and he's feeling good, and he likes to like vocalize and throw in ad lib. He's not that good to do that. He's not good enough to ad lib. He's not Robert Plant. He's not Steven Tyler. He's not even, honestly, he's not even Brian Johnson of AC/DC in terms of that. Like, he shouldn't be adding stuff. You should be doing less. Do less. You can barely hold a note. Do less. So
do less, smile more.
Slice Your Pie, and worse in a couple of other songs, he's like ma 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 and wah 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 and na 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 na. I don't know what he's doing. Someone should have stopped him. Bob, I'm looking at you. You were there. Stop him. This doesn't sound good.
I want to say something about how wrong you are, and Vince came through.
No, he sings good.
No,
I don't need this extra shit though.
I want to say that this is wrong, because I don't want to hear any negative of. It's like Singles, it's like the singer in the band at Singles. I don't want to hear any negative. So
no, just read the good stuff. And he was ably backed by Stone and Jeff and Eddie.
But a good review is for us.
It's for all of us, bro. Oh man.
Remember, we're big in Denmark.
I'm bummed out now, man.
Anyway, but no, you're absolutely right. And this is the album where he's throwing in these little bits everywhere. Every song has them.
And again, I'm sure it's Bob. I'm sure Bob let him off the hook because Nicky wasn't there during the sessions to dog him.
But Bob likes that.
He does. He made James do it too, actually.
He didn't let James do it. He's like, do a yeah or a one
hold it out. Let it go.
Yeah.
Don't worry about the strictures of measures. They don't exist.
Yeah, he made James do that. And then now all of a sudden everything James Hetfield does is yeah.
For the rest of our lives, but it's okay. So Slice Your Pie is a marginal song, and it's probably maybe the worst song on here.
It is the worst song on here, and it's too early in the album for this song to be here.
It should have been toward the end.
This should have been track 8.
Yeah, but I do like the Beatles thing. I like it works, even though they stole the idea for it. Okay.
I'm not a giant Beatles fan. Honestly, I'm only growing in appreciation for them now. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I grew up with the idea of, I like things you've never heard of. I like Peruvian Catholic monk pagan chants. I mean, I was that big of a dick. And I mean, I'm not now. I mean, I'm still a dick. I'm a different way. But, and so it was hard for me to even consider the Beatles. I do consider the Beatles to be a bit of a derivative band, but they were derivative of just the right people that no one's heard of, in the way Elvis was derivative. Anyway, not the point.
Not unfair. Continue with the tracks.
All right, let me grab the record
I'll
again.
less from here on out, I promise.
No, it's fine.
Except
now we get to a song about Vince Neil's dick. Rattlesnake Shake.
Every song about?
Not every song. I mean, half. And Rattlesnake Shake is actually, as far as songs about dicks go, this is up there. Not quite with Love Gun, but it's not a bad track. It's a good little kind of rock and roll boogie track. We talked about on Theater of Pain, when you're playing blues is when you're out of ideas. Here we got Boogie Blues. Nobody does Boogie Blues when they're out of ideas. It just happens. It's natural. It's John Lee Hooker. It's Canned Heat, and apparently Mick fucking Mars somehow. Thoughts?
This is an actually pretty good song with a great guitar part. A lot of guitar wankery, but I dig it. It goes with the time.
Hey, in 1989, if you could not ejaculate out of your guitar's headstock, you weren't going gold.
Nick, just go in there. Yeah, it's a good one. It's a pretty
Of
good
course,
one.
I'm going there. It's Motley Crue.
It's Motley Crue. It's above average. It's above average for this band and for this album.
You know, maybe it's just really good because it comes right after a slice of your
It's.
pie. But
I would even argue to say it's probably the best non-single track on the record. How's that for a proclamation? It's a good song.
well, it's better than She Goes Down. But
Those
we'll get to
other
that in a
songs are
minute.
bad. Yeah,
We'll get to that in a minute.
Those side two songs are, oof, but okay.
All right, moving on. Now we get to most arguably the Motley Crue song that everybody remembers. Not as good in my opinion as the title track, Dr. Feelgood, which is my favorite Motley Crue song not sung by John Corabi, because I'm still a gatekeeping, Tibetan monk dick. But this, Kickstart My Heart, we get Mick Mars on the talk box, which I believe is the first instance of Martian talk boxing in the history of recorded music. I don't believe we've had any other Martians doing it. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I don't even understand this.
Mick Mars, he's from Mars, obviously.
Okay.
So it's Martian. Anyway, no, it's an amazing song. It has been overplayed. I think we can all agree about that. Agree on that, excuse me. But you want to talk about riffs. You want to talk about a theme. You want to talk about a band declaring their new lifestyle. I don't know what a top fueled funny car is. Maybe that's a racing phrase I'm not familiar with. Maybe it's fueling from the top. I don't know. But they're singing about their new life, and they're singing it with conviction. They're playing with conviction. And I think that's the difference between Dr. Feelgood and every other Motley Crue record. Because for the first time, there is some self-awareness. There are some autobiographical elements which we have not really had apart from the songs about their own dicks, which I don't really frankly need, except for Tommy's dick, because that's something. I wish I hadn't said that. Not editing it out, it's staying in, because that's how we do this, not because I'm lazy. But no, it's a truly amazing song. It's a great video. It's a semi-performance, semi-concept, a great hybrid. And this is a song you're going to hear. It has become ubiquitous in American society. When you go to a hockey game, a baseball, any sporting event, and they need the crowd to get going behind the home team, they play this song.
It has been in movies. It has been in sports games, sports ball games. Here's my take on this song. The song is amazing. Riffs for days. One of the best riffs and drum beats in the whole band's history. Arguably one of their best songs.
I hear Keefe channeling the left. I hear Lester Bangs. Lester Bangs is coming.
Keefe Bangs.
Honest and unmerciful.
Here's the problem with Kickstart. Vince had no way of knowing that 30 years later he can't sing this shit anymore. And so when you hear him try to do this now, he literally can't.
No. This is unfair. I have never said this to you.
You didn't let me finish my point, but okay.
We're not talking.
When you don't enunciate your words in the first place on the recording in 1989, it's gonna degrade worse and worse over the next 23 years. So why not Kickstart My Heart? Sounds like Kickstart My Heart, and everybody makes fun of him because he sounds like he can't sing. So enunciate, which is something that Bob did with James, okay? Because he was not the king of not enunciating too much, and now he does.
I mean,
so I'm
fairness,
just saying, it's a great song. It's probably, if there's got a weak part to it, it's why did he have to why couldn't he just be like Kickstart My Heart? Why can't he just sing a note? Why can't he just hold a note? Why does he gotta step stool up to a note because he's not that good a singer. Sorry, not sorry. You're not wrong. I'm piling on, but
Okay, here's what
I'll
I'm gonna
stop
do.
after this.
No, you're not.
No, I mean, there's really not much else to talk about. The rest of the songs, the three bad ones and the three good ones. What's left of here?
let's
So
let's
let's.
let's roll this back to 1981,
Oh no, why?
which has nothing to do with
I'm
Motley
trying to
Crue.
finish this thing. Come on.
So Mutt Lang is in the studio with
Yes.
Def Leppard. Now we have talked about Def Leppard here and there. Probably should do a run, and would be a great run.
Rip
However,
Steve Clark.
indeed, R.I.P. Steve Clark. So you have Mutt Lang sitting in the studio with Joe Elliott singing "Bring It On the Heartbreak,"
Mm,
and he keeps saying, "Go higher, go higher, go higher," and that's what I envision happened
that's fair.
in this session.
Is that the
So
same thing with the dog whistle in Bohemian Rhapsody with Roger? Is that the same? Is that the
I'm
same?
not familiar with that story,
Oh, okay. Another time then.
but this
You
is what
might
I
be
feel.
right. You might be right.
This is what I feel like happened is that Bob Rock was trying to push Vince Neil into a new because he was trying to do to Vince Neil and failed what he succeeded doing with James Hetfield a year later.
That's
Boom.
yeah. Okay.
All
Not
right,
untrue. Not untrue.
moving on. Without
I'll be more
you,
complimentary from here on out. I promise, because I mean it.
you have no, I mean, being as you don't really like this band, and I have full breaking fourth wall. Motley Crue has been on our agenda for the entire time we've done this.
Mm.
And Keefe has been oh, Motley no for a year, and finally he acquiesced. So I'm gonna give big thanks to my co-host. But in fairness, we did do Faith No More, whom I don't really much care for that much. So give and take, give and take. And I also am going to apologize for subjecting him to, wow, a lot, this whole series, basically, this whole series. But we are now in the gooey, buttery steak part. Not this song. This song is not part of that. Without You is, Motley Crue had no ballads on their first two records. Then Home Sweet Home hits. And as we discussed in that episode, wasn't the birth of, but it was the tapping. It was the popularization that Eddie Van Halen did of two-handed tapping. And all of a sudden the power ballad becomes huge and it becomes a thing. And not only does it become a thing, but it becomes a requirement. It becomes English 101 for every record. And Motley Crue, however, could never do another one that was worth a damn. So they did one on Girls, 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 which was not one of the first two songs. So as we discussed, was crap. So now they do Without You. And Without You is, I'm being a bit unfair. I will turn my judgmental pendulum back to me. It's a bit unfair. Is it a bad song? No. Is it a great song? No. Is it cheesy schlock rock? Oh, God, yes. And the video is Egyptian. I really don't know what drugs the director on that was on that one, because theoretically Motley Crue was not on any. I can't even think about how Egyptian symbolism was in the zeitgeist at the time. Just what happened there is it's a thing that happened, and Motley Crue did it. There was like a drinking out of a cup that was like swirling with purple shit. I don't know what the hell. Without You. Without Keefe, though, I'm nothing. So.
Oh, well. Without you, I'd probably be a lot more bitter, angry, and judgmental. Here's a fun story.
You're an active critic. I'm a retired
for
critic.
the 30. No, not really. For the 30th anniversary of Feelgood, Motley Crue was on Ozfest, opening for Ozzy as the penultimate band. And actually, the final three bands were Halford solo, Crue doing all of Feelgood and a few other hits, and Ozzy. And I'm going to tell you, as a not huge fan of Without You, when the Tweeter Center, whatever it's called now, in Massachusetts, southern Massachusetts, near the Rhode Island border, when Without You broke out and the Lighters came out, it was quite a great moment. And Vince sang well and they played well. And, it was kind of a thing. It was like, oh, this isn't too terrible. This is okay. This is pretty okay. And, in terms of it's their second best ballad, because their other one is Home Sweet Home, one of the best ever. I don't blame them for trying it again.
I can completely understand that. And is it awful? No. Is it necessary? Debatable.
Fair enough. Continue. Reeling with the feeling. Don't stop. Continue.
Pause, please.
Oh, no, why? I want this to be over so bad.
I don't. All right. Okay, I am drinking away the Mountain Dew.
You're going to have to,
bro. Trader Joe's, simpler times longer. $6 for a 12-pack.
That's pretty good, bro.
Now we're going to kick it over to side 2 because I'm a vinyl hipster. Although if you're friends with me on Facebook, you will see my vinyl album is called I'm Not a Hipster. Everyone I know disagrees with that assessment. However, so this starts off with Same Old Situation and shit. Hair bands need a few things to be proper hair bands, right? Songs. You need certain kinds of songs. You need your declaration song, Kickstart My Heart. You need your courting controversy song, Shout at the Devil. You need your youthful exuberance song, Too Fast for Love. You need your kick-ass, super sentimental power ballad, Home Sweet Home. And what else do you need? You need your party-ass sing-along song, Same Old Situation. Now, does Same Old Situation say anything anyone needs to hear? No. Is it lyrically good? No. Is it melodically, vocally good? Yes. This is probably Vince Neil's shining moment as a vocalist. And he does like slides. He does vibrato that doesn't sound like Eddie Vedder much. I don't like Pearl Jam. I don't like Eddie Vedder. I'm sorry. He sings an octave up, an octave down. He sounds good. If you only heard this song, you would be like, yeah, Vince Neil can sing. Yes, you would. If you were on the pod. But
maybe. I don't know.
No,
it's a good song though.
He sings well on this one. Everybody does great. It's a fun video.
I'm actually surprised it wasn't a bigger hit, actually. It is a single, was a single released. It was a hit.
I remember this one being, this is the biggest hit I recall from the time. I remember seeing this video constantly. And
well, the video was on constantly, it's true.
And this is the first time we saw Tommy Lee in a thong with suspenders, because I don't know what was going on there, but
I suddenly need a baby bottle brush to rub out my ear and burn my eyes out with hot pokers. Go ahead.
It was sequined. I watched the video today, and this is
anyway.
Yeah, well, he's got. I don't know if banana's the right word. I mean, what's like a 3-foot-long vegetable?
Eggplant.
Legitimate
eggplant emojis. Tommy Lee was the original eggplant.
Like legitimately an eggplant.
Legitimately an eggplant. All right.
Purple and huge.
Yeah. Anyway.
We've all seen the movie.
We have. So. Good song, good video, ubiquitous everywhere. On MTV at the school hour.
It was on MTV at like 10 a.m. on a Saturday. And this is, it's
I don't know if it was the first time ever, but I did like that they passed the camera around in the clear beach ball. That was
I did
pretty
like that.
inventive.
I love that.
That was
All
inventive.
the goofy camera shit and the way they did it by showing they broke fourth wall and didn't break. And they would show the dude. They would film the dude pushing a camera on a pallet jack, and then they would switch to his view, and they would show Vince walking with the camera on the zero gravity arm, and then he would throw. I mean, it was a really it is probably the most well done performance video of all time.
Not to mention in the era before GoPros, you got the 360 Tommy in the cage, right? That's in that video too for the first time.
No,
No, I'm thinking of a different video.
that's in that's off of Girls, Girls, Girls.
Okay.
But they did show Tommy in on this tour. Tommy's drum. That was the first time Tommy's drum set flew over the audience, and so they showed little clips of that. Him, there was a track where it would go up like Peter Criss's drum set, and then go forward. I think it's fair to say that everyone in this band were fans of Kiss except for Mick Mars, who I think really was but won't admit it. I'm gonna leave that there. I'm gonna let that breathe a bit.
You're gonna let it hang in the air. He hates them. Anyway, go ahead. He hates that Nikki loves them so much. I don't think he hates them. I think he hates that Nikki is obsessed with Paul and Gene.
Well, and Tommy Lee wore cat whiskers.
Yeah.
For the first couple of years on one side of his face. So, I mean, the showmanship of my wife and I have argued about Kiss many times because I'm a jackass and I like picking fights about nothing because fights about something is bad. And so we're at a hair metal show. I forget which one because we've been to all of them. When we were dating, I'm like, you like heavy metal, right? And she heard you like hair metal, right? So enthusiastically, yes. You want to see King Diamond? No. What? So, but we were already together at that point. I couldn't back out. But so I'm like, I don't understand how you hate Kiss. These guys are their children. I mean, the 80s Sunset Strip was, I mean, that is the children, those are direct descendants of Kiss. And where was I going with this? I don't remember. I'm just rambling at this point on this one. But this was also the first time we got the severe introduction to the two ladies they had on stage, which I don't know if they could sing because the live performance was not really a live performance as much as it was, whatever. It's not like, what were their names? Stacy and Roberta from Guns N' Roses. One of them was Roberta. I know that. But we got to see Motley Crue in a very different way, but from the same lens.
Fair enough. Yeah, that's a lot on that song, but it's a good song. I wouldn't kick it out of bed. I wouldn't throw it off the record. It's one of the best songs on here.
Who's feeling like their belly is not a six pack and a little bit soft?
Who?
Because now all of us, because we are now headed to the soft underbelly.
Oh, the soft underbelly. Here we go. Okay, I didn't get the reference.
I don't know if that was any. I don't know if it's any good. We go on to Sticky Sweet now. Ugh. Not as good as Slice of Your Pie.
Somehow not as good. Does have backing vocals on the song by Steven Tyler because Aerosmith was in the next studio. Bob Rock's studio is sharing time with, was it Bruce Fairbairn? Fairbairn?
Yeah,
who was
Fairbairn.
doing Pump by Aerosmith at the same exact time as Feelgood. And the bands hung out and partied, or didn't party but hung out because Aerosmith was still partying. And
no, they were sober at this point.
Were they sober?
Permanent Vacation. They got sober before Permanent Vacation.
Oh, okay. Well, Steven and Nikki are very close friends apparently, and so they got Steven to be on the record.
Permanent Vacation was an allusion to a permanent vacation from drugs.
From life.
Correct.
I think from life if you don't stop doing them, but okay.
Yeah.
I have a good permanent vacation story someday for another pod.
Then we move on to another song about a dick.
Mm-hmm.
And not as good as the first one.
Mm.
You can't have too many songs about your own cock on a record. I'm sorry, you can have too many songs about your own cock on a record. Two, I think, is too many. So we have She Goes Down for hours. She goes down, she goes down. Okay.
Not a very deep band. These guys are not readers. You know what I'm saying? Their bookshelves would not have books on them. That's what I'm trying to say.
Crash is a real smart guy. I once saw him read a book without pictures in it. And I didn't anybody in this group. That song again, soft underbelly. You gotta stick you gotta stick the filler somewhere, and it always goes in the same spot. Right there. 2 and 3 on side 2. An album is great when those songs are good.
Okay, that's fair.
Moving on.
This is still a great album, and these songs are not good. These particular two are the second and third worst songs on the album, besides "Slice of Your Pie."
Agreed. There's three. There's one iffy song, which is "Slice of Your Pie." 2 bad songs, and they're in the bad song spot. I mean, that's you put. Why does your catcher bats 8th for a reason?
Well said, sir. That's the best line of the week. The catcher bats 8th for a reason.
Thank you. And then we move on to another MTV Super Smash mega crushing hit, which might have been a premonition. What is it?
Don't Go Away Mad, Just Go Away.
Oh, I love it.
Supposedly a callback to an earlier song. According
is it?
To,
I don't know this story.
Supposedly, the lyrics are a nod to an early Too Young to Fall in Love. There's a lyric that references the song.
I don't think anybody pays enough attention to Motley Crue lyrics to notice a callback.
You should.
Look, one of the conversations I've had about Kiss with people many, many times is when I complain about lyrics like Rocket Ride, and I'm told, why are you complaining about lyrics? Look, there's a limit. Deuce is one thing. Let Me Go Rock and Roll is one thing, but Charisma is another. You can only fall so far before I'll stop catching you.
I had that single anyway, and I love Rocket Ride actually, but okay.
I love the song. I hate the lyrics.
Yeah. I did a little. I don't think you saw it, or you would have mentioned it. It was done for your benefit, and you didn't catch it. It was I do a thing every week in the Ghost Cult Weekly Ritual, where you can catch something, or you can catch me on the Glacial Musical Podcast.
I do.
So last week I did. You can catch a Rocket Ride, and I did the 2 thumbs.
Oh, I missed that one.
You can catch a Rocket Ride if you know the Phantom of the Park movie with the 2 thumbs.
And so much for my solo.
That's okay. Yeah.
I have that on VHS.
I have it too somewhere. Yeah.
On VHS?
Yeah.
I don't have a VCR, unfortunately.
I also have the Star Wars holiday special on VHS.
Wow. Okay.
I definitely have it.
Fair.
Yeah, man, Don't Go Away Mad. It's not a bad song. It's another pretty good one. It's almost a clone of Same Old Situation, like the entire exact song done over in a different way. Just like, let's write 2 of those. Okay, we got 2 of those.
Yeah, well, that's Motley Crue in a nutshell.
It is, but it's not a problem. It's probably the bottom rung of all those singles, but fairly.
No,
you don't like Without You. I would put Without You ahead of this.
All right, that's personal opinion is personal opinion.
Like a slight notch. And then, take us on home, Daddy, because shoot this thing in the face. This whole series.
Time for Change. I have no fucking clue.
Time for Change is like they wrote it. I don't know who Donna McDaniel is, but she co-wrote the song with Nicki, and it's like literally some The Wall, Glasnost, something like that. Like,
you alluded to politics in the Theater of Pain episode. Is this that?
Maybe, yeah, might be.
Because I have no recollection of Motley Crue
ever being a political band. You said this. I think this is trying
ever
to be
being outside of their own room.
Yeah, this is them trying to do that and not doing well.
You know what? Write what you know.
Yo, write what you know, and if all you know is TNA, write TNA, TNA, TNA. But that's, whatever.
That's why Dr. Feelgood was such an amazing song.
Somehow
they knew they were trying to get sober.
And Time for a Change is less bad than Sticky Sweet, She Goes Down, or Slice of Your Pie. Which Slice of Your Pie is still like decent because of that ending.
Slice of Your Pie is not. I don't
Not
remember
horrible.
what I said earlier. Is it terrible? No. Is
No,
it bad?
none of
No.
this is terrible. Just some of it's not as good. The highlights are so high in this one rare case for this band that the other stuff is very flat.
You know, that is a really great point because, frankly, let me get the track listing back so I get the names right. Also, in the Theater of Pain, we were talking about Coheed and Cambria. The album that I could not remember the name of was not The Color and the Shape. It was, in fact, The Color Before the Sun, which makes even less sense.
I don't know.
Sticky Sweet, She Goes Down. You put those on Girls, Girls, Girls.
They would be the best songs on there beside the first couple.
Right, and immediately you could make that an EP.
Yo.
So
this is
just
to
clarify.
Yeah, this is still a great album. I would almost give this an 8 or a 9, which would be the best album Motley Crue has ever done. I still love Shout at the Devil. I have a soft spot in my heart for that one.
I don't know if I'm willing to go.
9.
We're going to go out of 10.
No, not a 10, but maybe a 9.
No, if we're going out of 10.
Yeah.
And Motley Crue is like Kiss in a very specific way. They're not an album band. They're a singles band. So we had talked about previously how Theater of Pain. I'm sorry, I listened back to the episode today, so I remember it really well. And how that album changed rock and metal into a singles-oriented.
That's not unfair. I will say that this is the record with the most hit singles the band has. This is the best sounding produced record. This is the best. The good songs on here are written the best of the whole band's career almost. Dr. Feelgood is arguably the best Motley Crue song. You can make a case that it is. I don't know what you would put ahead of it. Home Sweet Home.
Me?
The Devil.
Nothing. No, yeah, that is.
Dr. Feelgood is the best song Motley Crue has ever made. This album is the best sounding album. It's the reason it's enduring. It has sold the most copies still. 10, 15 million this album alone.
Right. It's all 10 million. It's contemporarily. So, and one of the things we didn't mention was it's the right length. Okay, now, we discussed, I think it was last week, we discussed what is the length of an album. And I still stick with personally an album is 28 to 45 minutes. Anything past that is, then there's the triple-sided record, the double record, whatever. And 45 minutes has just always been that number because most of recorded music has been based off of a 12-inch 33.
Okay.
So that became the term. And so their next album, which has songs I like better than the songs on this one, which we're not going to get into that. If you want to really hear my thoughts, check out the Department of Metal Antiquities, where Duncan and I went deep on the self-titled.
You should link that in the description of this video. Link that episode. I want you to. Or I'll link it in the YouTube, actually. Maybe people will click to it. That would be fun. But
the biggest issue with that album was the length. It was about...
too long?
It was 60 minutes.
Yeah,
and
they don't do well. It's too many minutes.
There are very few albums that go six. When you go 60 minutes, only one person I know can do that consistently and do well. His name's Robert Plant. So if you're not breathing the Robert Plant air, edit.
Yeah.
Edit.
This record has no songs above 5 minutes, which is a feat into itself. 2 under 4. And when we're talking about radio, right? It doesn't matter. Length doesn't really matter. A good song is a good song. A well-written song is a well-written song. Feel Good is almost 5 minutes, and it should be. Kickstart My Heart is almost 5 minutes, and it should be. And Don't Go Away is almost 5 minutes.
Although I allow me to blaspheme, if you don't mind. If I could blaspheme in here, Kickstart My Heart could have been. They could have tucked that back to 4, and that's probably
or 3.
Better. Yeah, I mean it doesn't.
There's that long ending, right?
It doesn't.
The outro. I will also just jump back for one last second and say, you know what Time for a Change reminded me of when I first heard it? Mott the Hoople, Carry the News, right? All the young dudes, whatever. Like that's the song that song is trying to be and failing. But it's still better than the worst things on here. And again, like you really can't look, this is one of those chiseled in stone '80s records. It's the end of the decade, but it really was the sort of best last gasp of the decade.
Correct. You said what I was going to say. Let me finish my previous point because
You can wrap this up in a bow. I'm done with Motley
No,
Crue.
we're not done yet. We got to hit the tour. Sorry.
Oh no.
No, we're doing it. This album is about 40 minutes long, and there is no hair metal record I've ever heard where I turned it off and went, you know what I need? 3 more tunes. And so there are just certain things that only last so long. Kiss in the 70s, 30 minutes. That's all you needed. So I want to really point out that they really stuck within the medium. And I think sticking within the medium gives you a better, like I said, triple-sided records typically come out where there's a lot more filler than is required. And I love albums. I mean, I have 1,200 records. I love listening to a complete piece. And I could probably count on 2 hands how many records are the right length. So
fair.
Big kudos to them for doing it the right length. So now, like the Black Album, this is a bit which comes out 2 years later. 2, 3? It was 91 or 92? 91, right?
Late 91, yeah. August 91.
Okay, August 91. So it comes out 2 years later, we get the Black Album. And like the Black Album, this is a bit of a phenomenon, not to the extent, no, about the right, contemporarily, just the Black Album still kept going. So what happens when you have a phenomenon album? You keep releasing singles, which is how we got 6 singles out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 tunes, and one of them is 45 seconds. So 6 singles out of 10. And as they keep selling, you keep releasing, you keep pushing, and as they keep selling, you keep touring. So I think it's only fair, because I love it, to discuss the set list. So I know Keefe is not a big fan of this part of the show.
It's not that I'm not a big fan of this because I love this. I just wish it wasn't at the end because I'm done with this band. But
we have to do it at the end. You can't do it before you can't do the set list before the tour. That's dumb. I know you. Look, well, just let me do this and then we can be done. Okay.
Okay.
So, Kickstart My Heart. Awesome. Red Hot. Okay. Rattlesnake Shake. I don't know. Too Young to Fall in Love. Shout of the Devil. Live Wire. And chime in when you hear something that surprises you.
I mean, we just talked about how we liked Rattlesnake Shake. I don't think it's on their brand new album. I don't think it's bad that it's an early.
No, I'm just saying anything that surprises you.
Okay, sure.
I have not gotten surprised yet.
No.
So, Shout of the Devil, Live Wire, Same Old Situation, Slice of Your Pie, Guitar, Drum, Looks That Kill, Smoking in the Boys Room, Wild Side, Girls, 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 Home Sweet Home, Dr. Feelgood, and Jailhouse Rock.
I love that cover, man. Oh, it's gross.
And they played 97 times, no encores. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Remember when I said I was not surprised? I am now.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, the set list is like a greatest hits.
It's a fucking great set list. I could
leave during the cover and get to the parking lot early. They're definitely playing arenas now, right? Like they.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Right. Yeah. Jailhouse Rock. Have we heard that?
No, but
was that
the
on any of the records?
The last record. It's the bonus track on the last record, and they love it.
You know what I don't need?
Awful.
I don't need that.
I don't need Elvis anything.
I saw the movie. It was great. So I'm going to try to listen to this one record I've got.
I need to see it. I love Graceland. I will say that. I need to see the Elvis movie.
Amazing movie.
Can't get out of the house. I think.
I hear you.
The new Brad Pitt movie is coming out tomorrow or today, and it's going to push the Elvis movie out of the theaters probably, and that's what happens. So.
Okay, I thought you were going to compliment Brad Pitt for a second there. Anyway, moving on. So, he's even from Missouri. So, He's just bad at what he does. He's just really attractive.
He's one of the best actors ever.
No, I was talking about this to one of my coworkers today when we went on our 2-mile lunch walk because that little sun lizard moves fast. Look at this face. Picture Brad Pitt doing it and tell me what 8 movies you just pictured.
None. You're wrong. You're wrong.
No, I'm not. I'm not on this one. I've been wrong. So great set list for the tour. Great record. I guess we should wrap this up with somehow now everything goes to shit. Thoughts?
Yeah, the wheels fall off. I don't know if it was the sobriety attempt. I don't know. You said they were not sober by the end of the tour. They were back to partying. Vince, when does Vince bail? What happens exactly? Was there an incident? I don't remember.
No one knows.
He just was like, I quit.
No. That's what Nikki says. Vince says he was fired. In the behind the music, Vince says, what did Nikki say?
I legitimately don't remember. He says, what did Nikki say?
Yeah, he says, I was fired. And they go to Nikki and he goes, Vince quit. Then they go to Mick. And Mick goes, something happened. I don't know.
Sounds like him.
So
Tommy's like, I'm just here to party, bro. Why can't we be friends?
Look at my party. I'm going to play the drums with my dick. Boom. Boom. Tell me he didn't do it.
He did, but I'm still not drunk enough for this. Anyway, the wheels fall off. Vince leaves. And rather than break up, which is what they should have broken up.
Then the golden era of Motley Crue begins.
You really can't say that after we spent all 5 weeks on this, dude. You really can't. I love John Corabi, and I like those records. Whatever. I like him. Supposedly there's a unreleased record. I like him a lot.
No, the unreleased record was Generation Swine.
Okay.
For more information, see the Department of Mental Antiquities.
Yeah, they probably should have just...
Also, don't listen to it. Oh, fuck.
They should have just broke up. Corabi's talented, and he's good. They treated him poorly. They were playing a nobody. They had to get Vince back for the money. He didn't want to come back. They don't like each other. They're just not friends. It's a business. They're stuck with each other.
It's not show friendship.
It's the music business, not the music friendship, as I like to say. Copyright Keefe. So, yeah, I mean, did they ever need to come back? I don't know. Yeah, I've said before, if you've never seen Motley Crue, go see Motley Crue and say you saw them. But it's not going to be a good time. If you love music and you really care about, if you're anal retentive and you love music performance and you want the best band in the world, it ain't Motley Crue. However, for those singles, and I don't know if you want to say 10, 15 singles over this first decade, are unbelievably great and essential to rock history. And they do put on a great show. It's like Kiss without the makeup. I would say that till I'll die on that hill.
Okay.
But it ain't good. It ain't a good performance. And this guy's not a good singer.
Here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to disagree with Keefe. I have seen Motley Crue at least twice. I don't know. Maybe there was a third time. I don't know. My wife and I might have gone twice. I don't know. At least once. And she begged me to go. By begged me, she said, Nick, buy tickets.
And then she begged you to leave.
Yes, she did. So for anyone who did not listen, this is not just any Motley Crue tour. We are at the farewell tour. This is it. They come out.
We'll see. Their hope is that it's going to be like a GNR where it's a never-ending farewell tour.
No, I'm talking about 2015.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that tour. Oh, I didn't even...
So
I was just
the Motley Crue farewell tour. They come out to Saints of Los Angeles.
They wrote none of that record.
That was the first song.
They couldn't barely play.
No.
We're all out of shape. That album's not terrible. They didn't write all of it. They didn't write any of it, actually. They wrote most of it.
She looks at me and she says, can we leave?
Jesus.
First track, first song. And I'm like, can we at least wait this out a minute?
Nope.
So next song looks a killer. I don't remember what it was. It was better. And she's looking at me like, She was the reason why we were there. And she was like, this is awful. So if you have not seen Motley Crue, don't. I cannot. And I saw them before now when Tommy was playing the drums. And it was awful.
Bad. Yeah. I will say this. Here's a few things. This podcast was enhanced by the fact that I reread The Dirt a few years ago before the Dirt movie came out. And I don't know if I thought I was going to get like a documentary version of The Dirt instead of the funny Dirt. I like The Dirt, funny Dirt, and the Dirt song and a couple of songs they wrote for that. Madonna covers terrible, but don't do covers. Motley Crue, don't cover these things. It's not. There's no.
I like that they left out the phone story with the groupie.
Yeah, it's just like this isn't clever or good. But the book is good. The Dirt show, for what it is the Netflix movie is good. It definitely sparked interest in them. I don't know that people who never saw Metallica are now going to want to run out and see Metallica, and they're going to have to be forced back into playing like 100 shows a year because of Stranger Things. First of all, I don't think they can do it, and they don't want to do it. Certainly, James doesn't want to do it.
They will not do it.
But I think like that's in Motley Crue's mind. The Dirt was such a big hit, the book and the movie, that they had to come out of retirement. But I still think, again, this is a band. What is GNR doing? What is Def Leppard doing? What is Metallica doing? Why is there gays? Why can't they just be satisfied with what they've done? Tommy can make his horrible rap rock music. Nicky can do 6 a.m. or whatever he wants to do, audiobooks.
6 a.m. is terrible.
Mick can do nothing. The one song that 6 a.m. has that wasn't written by them is really good. And the rest of it is garbage. Again, butt rock. You ask what butt rock is? 6 a.m. is butt rock. Red State rock music. And I don't know, look, man. I'm conflicted. I love some of this Motley Crue stuff. But it's like, yeah, Vince is like just the worst.
In the studio, it's up and down. On stage, it's always down.
He's never been good.
You know, on stage, she goes down. No, they go down.
They go down. Vince goes down.
Yeah, Vince goes down and down and
down.
Literally
has fallen on stage multiple times. I'm sad that I don't revel and enjoy this. This has been punching down a lot this series. We have punched down more on this series than any other series, and that includes Quiet Riot.
No, we punched down way more on Quiet Riot.
We had to, though. It's like,
I mean, we listened.
We were talking about canceling the second half of that series at one point, and you made me. You're like, you don't want to do the 93 record? No, I don't. It's much better. No.
We didn't do 90. No, we didn't do 90. We did 1 through 4.
1 through 4. And
shit, 3. I wish I hadn't. 2. I bought 3 for that series.
Yeah, well.
You know what I regret? Buying 3 for that series.
I understand. But anywho, so, I'm glad we did the Crew. I'm glad we persisted.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to get my point in. And the thing about Motley Crue is, for me, because Keefe is a little bit older than me, and in 2022 that age difference is nothing, but in 1982, 1983 that age difference is significant. Keefe learns about Metallica during, I believe, Lightning. I didn't hear about Metallica till Justice, so where Keefe is cutting his teeth on amazing records like Peace Sells, But Who's Buying, and Ride the Lightning, and whatever. And Among the Living. Thank you. That's the Anthrax record. I'm cutting my teeth on Shout at the Devil, Metal Health, these kinds of things. So Motley Crue has a much bigger place in my heart than Keefe does. However, nostalgia goes only so far. And I can objectively look at Motley Crue and say, like Kiss, 60% of their catalog is abject crap. And 60% of what we listen to in this series, the classic Motley Crue, is crap. You know, if
Girls, Girls, Girls is their third best record, and it's almost unlistenable.
No, it is not.
You don't think so?
No.
Okay.
No, Girls, Girls, Girls had 2 songs.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, so if I'm going to rank them,
Oh, here we go. Yeah.
Too Fast for Love is a 6. Shout at the Devil is a 7. Theater of Pain is a 5. Girls, Girls, Girls is a 2.
No, come on.
It
There's
had
no
10.
twos.
It had 10 tracks and had 2 good songs.
That doesn't mean it's a 2. That's not
That
how
means
you
it's-
judge it. No. That doesn't mean it's a 2. It's a 5 or a 6 because those 2 songs are 2 of their best songs, and the ones that are bad are not terrible like on the other albums. They're just bad. They're just plain old not great, but they're not unlistenable. They're just not very good.
It's important to know how a critic grades things to help you see things the right way.
Yeah, the wrong way, your way. Anyway, and to me, Feel Good is at least an 8, if not.
I would give Feel Good an 8 because
much like Michael Jordan, Dr. Feel Good, Kickstart My Heart, same old situation, punched the level of the album up higher than it probably should be.
Agreed. I mean, those songs are. I would put them up with most Metallica's classic tracks. Those 2 songs.
Kickstart and Feel Good?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's up there with a lot on Justice and Puppets.
Okay.
And it's definitely better than some songs off of Lightning.
Maybe. I don't
Escape.
know. I don't think so. I think Metallica's way higher, but okay.
You think Feel Good is worse than Escape?
No, but like whatever.
That's all I said.
One terrible song in their first 5 albums. One. Like that's the one. I know people who hate most of Kill 'Em. I met somebody online who was like, "It's funny to hear you stan all these Kill 'Em All songs that are awful." I was like,
"What?"
Yeah. So you meet weird people on Twitter. Don't make friends.
Wait, what?
Yeah, somebody was like, most of Kill 'Em All is not good. It's a rip off of Motorhead. Mustaine wrote the half of it that's good and took the other half with him. And I was like, okay.
I like Drugs too, but not that much.
I love Drugs. This person I think is straight edge. But anyway,
there you go.
Yeah, again, I don't think an album is first of all, like you couldn't grade an album's grade based on how many songs are on it because some songs have 7 songs and some songs have 16. So
look, if I'm gonna go pass or fail out of 10,
okay, that's fine. But like
it's not a 2.
It's not a 2 is a little egregious, don't you think?
Okay, 4.
No,
that album is still a failure because I can't listen to it.
Okay.
Could you drop the needle on that record?
Don't drop your needles.
What?
Don't drop the needle.
Okay, if you could hydraulically lower your needle down with the lever.
Place the lever down.
No, you gotta. I use my jiggy. If you could pull the little lever that slides the needle down, would you listen to that whole record?
Would you sit any of this ever again?
Would you sit down and listen to Girls, Girls, Girls?
I listened to those first 2 songs on repeat. Those 2 are bangers.
No,
the album I would take it out
metal
once in a
swearing
while.
side of vinyl.
I would take it out once in a while and hear it. It's like a 5 or 6.
The whole thing.
Yeah, it's not a 4. Maybe it's a 4. It's a 2 is too mean. Come on.
I could never listen to that whole record, which that makes it.
We did though, several times.
Okay, I did that for you and the listeners.
I think you did it for yourself. You didn't do it for me. You don't do me.
No, I did not do that for me because I regretted every moment of that. So I would never sit down to listen to that album start to finish again. That album is 80% of that album is terrible. So maybe 2 is a bit egregious because the title track and the next one are great songs.
Top 10 songs. So the funny thing about Feel Good.
Agreed.
The funny thing about Feel Good is like these 5 singles are like in the top 10 or 12 ever Motley Crue songs.
Yeah, if you take out,
it's so heavy loaded.
Yeah.
By comparison to everything else, I'm not deflecting my own opinion, but I'm just saying like this record is so good by comparison to everything else. How it sounds, how it was played, how it was made, how it was recorded. They should have just made every record like this from now on.
Agreed. And again, we had mentioned the correlations to the Black Album. I would think your average Metallica fan, who's not me, would say that the Black Album, of their 6 singles, 4 of them are top 10 Metallica tunes. And so you have Bob Rock coming in, taking a band at a great level.
And he did it with The Cult, and he did it with Veruca Salt. He was given, like, at the time when every record was being made by Butch Vig or, Steve Albini, they gave him one of those, So, like, respect.
So
Respect
Bob Rock comes in and kicks the crap out of this and
I just think
makes
like if you stay too long with him, it's diminishing returns. That's my continued opinion of Bob Rock. If you stay like 10 years with him, it's a mistake. 2 years, 3 years, two, three,
hey,
four
a
albums.
producer is like a coach in a sports team.
You
It
got to change him
only
out.
it only works for so long. And yeah, that is completely true.
Joe Torre got 4 World Series rings and then they fired him, the Yankees. So you already know Lou Piniella. You already know.
Hey, the catcher for the Cardinals, he played for the Cardinals. Also managed the Cardinals before going to the Yankees and winning a shit ton of championships. But I'm not bitter. We didn't have any money then, so it's fine. But
Torre.
yeah, you can only go so far with a producer. Bob Ezrin produced 3 albums for Kiss out of their 20.
Cooper's 2 best records are Bob Ezrin.
Right.
Floyd's best record, or maybe not best record, but like the record everybody hangs on as the thing they remember about Pink Floyd. He's the mastermind of, yeah, for sure.
Right. But I mean, you think about that when you have somebody that comes in like Bob Rock. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm gonna actually drop that because there's no
defending. He's good. He's good. Bob Rock is really great. He's good. It's okay.
Correct.
We're going on and on. Tie this thing in a bow and put us out of our misery. I'm begging you. I want to go eat some wings and some blue cheese and drink this beer and call it a series.
And stop talking about Motley Crue.
Are we ready? Are we going to and then we'll announce our next series. I don't know what we're going to do with the Chaser because we're losing our guest for next week, but we'll figure it out.
We announced those. Well, we'll announce that now. So right. Go ahead. You go ahead and announce the Chaser. It is your choice. It is your pick.
Oh, the Chaser's my pick now?
No, not the Chaser. The series.
The series. Okay. Our next series, which is my choice, following this abomination of Motley Crue stuff that I don't regret, but in a way, a little bit I do, is going to be Body Count. Ice-T's Body Count. He's got the record there. It does not have Cop Killer on it, but we're going to talk a lot about Cop Killer. It may get uncomfortable for some of you if you're a bootlicker. I'm a huge Ice-T fan.
Wow.
And, yeah, I'm just going to go there. Oh, yeah. Oh, it's good. We're going to either gain a lot of fans or lose a lot of fans on this next series because I'm not going to hold back anything. But
all right.
I'm a big Ice-T fan, and actually my next to last public event between March 2020 and September 2021 was Ice-T's listening party for Carnivore, which I got a picture with him, and it's in my profile picture on some of my socials where he's hugging me. So yeah, I'm a fan. But
I have
also,
that too.
I think Body Count's a really fascinating, interesting band, worth talking about. We're probably gonna do a handful of records, not 5, but like 3 or 4.
Three or 4, yeah.
And we might just do like the first couple and skip to the most recent couple just to shake it up. I'm not sure yet. We might, if it's my choice. I don't know, because these last couple have been amazing.
You call it. I have the Self without Cop Killer, and I've got Carnivore. So whatever you want to do past that.
We might.
I've got Manslaughter on CD somewhere.
Manslaughter's good too. And then the Chaser, is that you? Do you want to?
Yeah, well, we're going to do a Chaser. We're going to feature a guest out of Canada, Western Canada. We will announce
ganja. I'm sorry. What? Ganja.
Look, this. It's been a long podcast. I drank the shittiest fucking thing I've ever had in my life, and I had like 18 ounces. I don't know. It was awful. So. We don't announce Chasers. We have a Chaser coming about live records.
Okay.
We did announce this before it failed. So theoretically,
are we going to do another Chaser, or are we going to still get our Chaser in with the lives with our guest? We don't know yet. I guess we'll figure it out. Okay. No. Nick, take us home or say something final about Motley Crue. I'm done mentally, so you go right ahead. It's all you now.
I want to apologize for the fact that we have lost the plot. But when dealing with Motley Crue for over a month, I think that's fair. I think that we cannot be looked down upon for getting beaten into delirium. But we have gone through Motley Crue of the 80s, their classic era, the good, the bad, the ugly. And we are done with Motley Crue. We did not do the top 10 as we discussed because fuck it, we've said enough. But thank you very much for listening. If you have made it this far, you are a king, a prince, or the female pharaoh Cleopatra, whichever, perhaps Catherine the Terrible, who has cut off Ivan's dick. So thank you for being here. Thank you for coming along. And this, as we always say, this is the Glacially Musical Podcast. It does not play in Peoria.